Jimmy, we had some other pretty big reports this week.
Every time I get ready to put together my little list of stuff, I always think to myself, it's amazing that every time we do this, there's so much to talk about. Like there's never a lull. And so I think we got to start with CM Punk because unfortunately, people online are convincing themselves that he's already signed, Sean. They're convincing themselves this is all the work and he's already signed. I told you off the air, I had a few people posting to me on Twitter saying, I think he's going to show up in NXT tonight. People have convinced themselves, and they're very hopeful that he's going to be at the Survivor Series in Chicago. Now, it doesn't help that Punk himself, because he's the ultimate troll, right? So it doesn't help that Punk himself has posted cryptic messages on Instagram. WWE, there's been a few cryptic things that may or may not have been intentional. If they haven't signed him, and you're going to get into it, Shinsuke doing the GTS was probably ill-advised, I think. But why don't you go ahead and tell me the latest you've heard about CM Punk in WWE? And if anybody watching this is a Punk fan, brace yourself. I guess that's all I'll say.
So I want to explain how this happened because, and I know it's going to sound pretentious, but I don't give a shit. There are a whole lot of people that have no idea how I do my job or how this job is done or the relationships and interactions between WWE and media. The other day, I had debunked a fake Twitter scoopster that said CM Punk is signed to a 1-year, $11 million contract. I said, this is completely false. I got a call from a WWE higher up, unprompted, and they said CM Punk not only is not signed by AEW, we are not signed by WWE. We are not in negotiations with CM Punk. Now, I had somebody say, can you give me a little hope? If you want a little bit of hope, it is that CM Punk himself made that offhand comment saying, in 2 months, I'm free as a bird, yada, yada. And if for some reason he's under a non-compete, then of course WWE can't negotiate with him. However, top talent, and Jimmy knows who this top talent are. Is it safe to say, Jimmy, that WWE is not going to lie or risk alienating these top talents?
100%.
100%. We're outright told he ain't coming in. They're not planning on it. It's not happening. That's what these top talent were outright told, because I don't just hear from a top person in WWE and the top talent and just run with it. I follow up. I followed up with people close to Punk, and people close to Punk said, yeah, the conversations haven't happened. Now, 2 weeks ago, I had reported that Punk had or at least one of his friends had been sort of a feeler asking how should this be approached, and that he was told should probably just be Vince McMahon. You should probably reach out to him. However, things have changed, at least creatively, in just the last 2 weeks, which is another story that we went in the weeds on FightfulSelect.com, best $5 in the business. Now, I had a lot of people saying a lot of things. And if you have any questions, get your super chats, get your humper chats in. We'd greatly appreciate it. The top one was, well, of course, they're going to work the dirt sheets. That is not what WWE does with media. They try to work the fans. With the media, 100% of the time, it is you don't get a response, you don't get acknowledged or anything like that if you're chasing a story like this, much less get an unprompted phone call debunking something. Now, I want to make this clear and clip it. Kyler's going to clip it so I can say this. As of October 10th, this is how things are going to go. I do not know how things are going to go in November, December, January. It's wrestling. Anything can happen. Ultimate Warrior got a ton of shots, and he was batshit crazy. So another one is, well, of course, they're trying to keep the surprise. No, specifically in that call, I was told that they did not want to set unrealistic expectations for fans watching or going to the show. Now, I will tell you guys, the only 2 other times WWE in a near official capacity have done that. SummerSlam, I had reported the week of that Randy Orton was not cleared, was not going to be there. However, there was some internet scoopster that said, he's coming back, SummerSlam. And a WWE rep hit me up and said, listen, we don't usually even approach this type of thing, obviously, but your story was correct. Randy Orton is not cleared. He has not been in the ring. He has not been to the PC. He is not going to be at SummerSlam. Obviously, that ended up being true. There was also a time when another internet scoopster, maybe the same one, I don't even know, had reported numerous times throughout, I think, March, April, May, June, that Bray Wyatt was around, that his situation was just with creative, that he could return, any number of things that were wrong. I knew, unfortunately, that he was sick, but WWE had never provided me that information in an official capacity. But for the sake of debunking the idea that a then sick Bray Wyatt would be showing up anytime soon, they were like, listen, we know that you know, but you know, this is accurate in that he's not going to be at these shows. He is not cleared. There are not creative plans for him. And that was the case, unfortunately, up until a couple weeks before his passing. So those are the only other two times that that's happened. WWE and really any higher ups in wrestling are not in the habit of alienating media for the sake of advancing a storyline, in the sense that they reach out or provide like something that goes a different direction. I can tell you there's numerous times I thought I was onto a story and I hit up Tony Khan and I was like, listen, I'm going to be reporting this. And he's like, well, you shouldn't, because it's not true. And then I ended up not reporting it, and it wasn't true. Hadn't been lied to. WWE the same way. I've never had a WWE higher up that I've caught lie to me. The closest you could put was the Vince related stuff, because they sincerely thought that he was gone. And when it's Vince, how can you ever be too sure? Mm-hmm. So for people that are like, well, or want to keep it a surprise, why would they tell the dirt sheets? They told the dirt sheets that no conversations are being had, that he is not signed. They are telling their own top talent, and again, Jimmy, talent they would not risk alienating, that right now it ain't happening. And I'm saying right now only to protect myself, because I know what some dumbasses that don't read are going to say. In 2 years, if he rolls in, people will be like, well, you got worked on that one, huh? Another
WrestleMania 41. Yeah,
exactly. They did put unrealistic expectations, all that stuff. CM Punk is not signed. I saw people say, oh, you're saying currently, so that means they've already done it. Nope, it was in the report. He has not signed. Has not signed. People close to him claim that they haven't even approached or anything like that, and Punk is sort of waiting to see if they do anything like that. Now, Deshire says, your conclusion, if they continue the Punk teases on SmackDown. I asked specifically about this during that call, and that person said, well, listen, a lot of those aren't cleared. Some of that's people going into business for themselves. Some of it's them generating buzz. And then one of those top talent, Jimmy, you could probably guess which one, said, yeah, I think Corey Graves is probably just trying to piss CM Punk off. Because I don't know if you guys know this, one of the first exclusives we ever had on Fightful was Corey Graves going off about CM Punk and him providing us an on-the-record recounting of the situation. Joel Wood says, I imagine Punk wants to retire on his terms rather than how he left AEW. So with him going back to AEW unlikely, I can't imagine he's not going to try everything unless he's just done. Yes, this exactly. It has seemed to me, like people I've talked to, that Punk is willing to play ball. However, he is months removed from a physical altercation and 13 months removed from a physical altercation. So I can understand why WWE is like, okay. Now, here's a big part. From what I understand, Triple H was expecting this to be asked at the press conference and was surprised that it wasn't and would have shut it down then. I was told that with extremely good authority. Extremely good authority. And then subsequently, a bunch of talent was asking throughout the weekend and Monday, and were told in no uncertain terms, he ain't coming in. Now, a big talking point I see on Twitter, and a really fucking stupid one, is when I see people going, same thing that happened with Cody. Remember that? No, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened with Cody, because your boy is the one who reported everything about Cody. Found out that his contract was coming up reported as such. Then I reported that, oh, he's a free agent right now with the TNT title. And then the morning that Cody Rhodes' AEW departure was announced, I get a call from someone very high up in WWE outright touting the fact that an imminent announcement was going to happen about Cody Rhodes leaving AEW. That's one of the many ways I had to jump on AEW and Cody's own announcement, is because I was getting verifications left and right that this was about to come. And our report said Cody Rhodes leaving AEW, expected to join WWE. Now, this is something that has been verified by Cody, done numerous interviews with him since then. He didn't sign his contract until probably a week or two prior to WrestleMania, contrary to other reports. Listen, I can't help what anybody else reports. I can't help that anybody else said, oh, they fizzled out and it's not happening. I don't care about that. I didn't report that shit. So no, this is nothing like the Cody situation. From the jump, Cody left AEW. Punk was fired from AEW. From the jump, Cody was going to WWE. CM Punk is a ship without a captain right now. Not the same. At no point did I have any serious doubt of Cody going to WWE. Where the hell else is he going? Was he going to MLW? No, he was going to WWE. So sorry for the rant, but James Stallings says, CM Punk always wanting to play ball when it benefits him as usual. I mean, hard to disagree. But.
I mean, the shitty thing for WWE, and I know that they're aware of this, people want to believe what they want to believe. People are very easily misled by what they read online. And so the risk is there that they're going to hijack the show in Chicago and they're going to be chanting CM Punk all night. And WWE, I'm sure, is aware of this. But what can you do, right? What can you do? Like, if you don't want to sign them, then you just have to get through that show and you have to expect it and you have to move on. So it is what it is. I mean, I kind of understand both sides of this. I understand the fans that want to see him back, and I understand WWE saying, we don't want that in our locker room. I get both sides of it. What I'd always said was, if it were me, if I was Hunter, I would talk to the top people in the locker room and kind of get their opinion. And maybe he has done that, but that's what I would do, because I think that they've earned that right. So I would gather all the top talent, men and women, and get their opinion. And if they're cool with it, then maybe you do it. But
exactly.
Yeah, I see both sides of it.
And, you know, I had some talent that were like, well, I would imagine that some of these people are making these references. That way they have something built in the event that they do work with him.